but still I woke up today. Another day they get on my grind. Got me singing, oh, oh, oh. Effort and build for pan ready. Oh, oh, oh. Effort and build for pan ready. I'm doing great, even though every day's not fine. But still I woke up today. Another day they get on my grind. Got me singing, oh, oh, oh. Effort and build for pan ready. Oh, oh, oh. Effort and build for pan ready.
Good. Presented to you by Live Wire Sports. That's right, we are back well into season 3 here. We just had our first guest about 2 weeks ago, and we're back with another great show, another great guest right here on Between the Lines. Tonight, we have a very, very interesting guest, a very, very historical young lady here on the show with us. We have Miss Stephanie Accord Williams. Stephanie, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, and yourself?
I'm doing pretty good, pretty good. You excited to be on the show?
I am. I'm very excited to be on this show. I was another show with another group, but this one is really, really interesting. I mean, I'm really excited, and it's during the best season ever, March Madness.
Definitely. Oh, definitely, definitely. We know you are into the games. Might ask you about who's your favorite team, so keep it locked for that question a little bit later, because we know you have a lot of basketball to tell us about a little bit later in this interview.
Yes, yes.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started here with you. Now, you have a very interesting nickname there. Can you tell us your nickname and how did you get that nickname?
My nickname is Piedy. Most people
How did you
say
get that nickname?
Piedy. That nickname, I got that nickname from my dad. I always asked him, I always wondered where did I get it from, and my mom said my father gave me that name. So I asked him one day. I said, "Daddy, where you get that name from?" He says, "You're my sweet pie. I just call you Piedy." And that's how that really evolved, to be honest with you.
That's really, really an interesting one, because I was trying to figure out where did this nickname come from? What could it mean? I thought it meant something specific, but that's a very simple way, and Dad really got it done with that nickname. That's a really good one there.
Yeah, and this was long before we knew,
No.
at least we knew the concept of nicknames. So I had this from being
Right.
a real little girl. Yeah.
So he just decided to call you that, and it stuck with you for the rest of your life. So that's definitely I like that nickname. It's different. I don't think I've heard it like that, but definitely an interesting one there.
And to be honest with you, growing up, most people just thought that was my name. So if you would say, that girl Stephanie, she's really good. They said, "Who's Stephanie?" I know a real girl that named Piedy. That's really good. So if you would have called me Stephanie, no one would know who you're speaking about.
That is the mark of a good nickname right there. When you forget the person's real name, that's when you know a nickname
Yeah,
is really a good one there. That works out perfectly.
yeah, yeah.
Now, moving a little bit further, where are you from?
I was born in New York, Far Rockaway, Queens. My mom is from Alabama, and my father is a Virgin Islander. After he finished with the military, he lived in New York, and that's where he met my mom. And I and my 4 other siblings were born in the state of New York. We relocated back to St. Croix. My mom and dad had separated, but they got back together, and through that union, we were able to move back to St. Croix. I think that was the best decision ever.
Now, about how old were you when you moved back to St. Croix?
I was 6 years old. I was 6 years old.
Wow, wow, wow. Now, did you think anything of your travels back to St. Croix? Were you excited to come to the island? Was it something new for you, or have you been here before you were at the age of 6?
No, to be honest with you, we actually came here twice. and I'm going to take you back in time a little bit to 1968. I don't think you
Uh-huh.
were around just yet,
Not even
but we
close.
came down in 1968 along with my mother and my father, and then we sort of went back to New York. I don't think it was going too well, but in the end, my parents were able to get it together, and we moved back in 1972, and we've been here ever since then.
All right, so not foreign to the land at all. You are a definitely a native Virgin Island, so nobody could ever take that away from you. Definitely, you wear it with pride multiple times throughout your career and your lifetime. So we're gonna get into that a little bit later as well. Now, what sport did you grow up playing while you were here in the Virgin Islands?
I didn't get that. I'm sorry.
What sport did you play growing up here in the Virgin
What
Islands?
sport did I play?
Yes.
Well, growing up, basketball was, I think, the number one sport. I could honestly say, growing up where I lived in John F. Kennedy housing community, there was a big field adjacent to the apartment complex where we lived, and they played a
Hmm.
lot of cricket. That was a big sport back in the days. My stepdad, who originates from Antigua, uh,
Hmm.
loved cricket, and we watched a lot of cricket growing up. Didn't play it, but sure did see it. I couldn't help but to see it because it was right outside on the field.
Now, did you play any other sport besides basketball growing up?
Well, honestly, I didn't. I never had a knack for track and field. I just didn't think I was very fast.
Mhm.
And I was always encouraged since I was very tall. I think I got a growing spurt, very young. I think by the time I was 10, 11 years old, I was almost 6 feet tall. And I
Wow.
was asked to play volleyball. Really wasn't interested. Kind of liked the fast movement of the ball going up and down the floor, particularly with the boys too. Most of the time, it was just with boys.
So, where did your initial love for basketball come from?
I think it just came from just having access to uh, a basketball hoop, and I would say we had a whole court, a full whole court, which was where I grew up in John F. Kennedy Project. It was in walking distance to Juanita Guardian Elementary School. So we had access to the field because the
Hmm.
court was right there. And um, I mean, that's where we were day in and day out. I mean, night would
Right.
fall and we'd still be there. And we'll hear, Piedy, it's time to come home. We'll be like, I'm coming, ma. One more game. And by then we kind of relied on the street lights to give us some light. So that's usually how that went.
Now, at what age did you kind of start to say, I could actually be a basketball player? I'm actually good at this. I want to take this a little bit further in my life.
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't play elementary. I I didn't play elementary basketball in elementary school. However,
Right.
I did play during those 10 to 12 years, just outside in the neighborhood. We had a lot of great neighborhood players that just didn't want to play organized basketball, but they'll be outside
Right.
on the court. But when I got to the seventh and the eighth grade, I still didn't play. I still didn't play junior high school basketball.
Wow.
I really couldn't tell you why I didn't play, but I can say why I didn't play. In 1977, 78, on St. Croix, the first we started double session in junior high school. So that is why I never really had the opportunity of playing because half of the student population went to school in the morning, and at the seventh graders went in the morning and the eighth graders went in the afternoon. So I
Right.
think with that double session situation that we had, it really, and it was new. So it was important to figure out the curriculum and how the the students were going to go to class. And I don't think basketball or sports at that point in time was really, the focal point at the time, because it was new and it was double sessions. And I think because of that, there was no basketball, at least not in junior high school.
Wow, that's definitely one of the downfalls of when we have those kind of situations, and it kind of just reminds me of now where we were in this pandemic for the last 2 years, and the kids weren't able to play sports at all. So it's always a bad situation when our youths aren't able to have that exposure to sports, that free time to play, that time to just burn out energy and do things with their friends. It's always a sad time to see that, but we know there was a reason that you did have to have that double session, and at the end of the day, the community and those in charge were trying their best to put things in the right situation.
I agree. I agree.
Now, you said you didn't play too much of the school basketball, but you played outside a little bit in some of the neighborhood leagues, some of the rec leagues. Any fond moments that you can remember from those early basketball years playing in rec leagues and different tournaments and those kind of things?
Yes, absolutely. I think at some point, uh, we didn't call it sports parks and recreation back then. I think we called it hmm, youth commission. That's what we called it many years
Okay,
ago.
good.
And I think through
Right.
youth commission, they started to organize basketball leagues for the younger kids, 8 to 10, 10 to 12. And through that summer league, we were able to organize a team from JFK Housing Community, which we call it Kennedy back in the days. And I was able to play uh, on that team. I was the only girl on the team.
Wow.
Severin Slim Jim Miller was the head coach, and 12 of us from our project, we put together a team, and we definitely competed. But I must say, back in the days, I mean, basketball was just it was so vibrant. I think every housing community had a team, whether it been pushers, Mandem from Frederickstead, but basketball was really alive. And I do recall competing in the Christian State division, because we had a Christian State division, we had a Frederick State division, we had a Mid Island, which consisted of uh, teams from Grove Place, and we did
Right.
have a championship series where our team actually won the championship in 1978, and that's how things really started to evolve around that time for me. And I think during that time I was at least 6 feet tall at that time. So I was growing, and it was just great to have someone very tall at the time. However, I definitely was working on my skills though, because I wasn't just tall, one of those tall people just stretching to get the ball. I would go up there and get it. So those are some of the years that really shaped and mold me.
Now, was it difficult at all for you to play, or how challenging I would say was it for you to play with the boys at that age group, at that age level, when you guys were competing in these inter neighborhood leagues?
Well, it to me it wasn't very difficult, at least for me, because I most of the time I was almost taller than everyone else,
Right.
and I didn't have a fear for the game.
Hmm.
Growing up, I've seen girls that have played on teams were more concerned with the boys playing them real close and them feeling uncomfortable about, hey, this guy is really close to me. And
Right.
that didn't phase me at all, because I knew this is what the game is all about. And
Hmm.
with that, I just built my confidence, just grew just being able to play with the boys. And a lot of times you be sitting on the side and you hear a lot of the young men, a lot of the boys my age saying, "Oh, you let girl beat you, let girl beat you," and I never talked about the game. I let my skills talk about the
Right.
game.
Like it. I like it. I like it.
You didn't know until you got in the court. Yeah, you didn't know until you got in the court. Because I mean, back then there was trash talking. Oh, you let girl beat you. And
Uh-huh.
I already sized up the competition, so I'm like, You just don't know what's gonna happen to you,
I like
and
it. The
that's how that
confidence.
went.
Now, how important do you feel it is that
Yes.
we have more organized leagues for young ladies to play? Because when we look around, we have to see girls playing with the boys in some of the little leagues, some of the BD leagues. How important do you think it is that we have a league that is for just young ladies to develop themselves in these sports before they have to play with the boys?
I think it's important, for us to establish girls' teams and boys' teams, but we also have to consider that there will always be elite girls that, and I say that for me, I
Yeah,
really, there was no enjoyment for me playing against girls because they just really didn't challenge me at all. And, it's good to have girls and boys leagues, but you're going to have some really elite girls that could step their game up and learn a lot more from just playing with boys. Just the physical aspect of the game,
very true.
and it really allows you to thrive, in the sport. So I like the concept of having girls and boys teams, but there are elite girls that definitely would just want to be challenged a little bit more. And I think the fact that it can be done, there's, to me, there's no harm in keeping a kid back that just wants to excel. And if playing with the boys is where it is, that's what you do.
Right, right. I definitely appreciate that viewpoint
That's
because
what I did.
and it worked out well for you, right?
It worked out well, but I don't know if you noticed in my bio that I prepared, and life is just full circle. When young youths traveled to St. Thomas to play in the 10 to 12 championship, what was different for us was we didn't have those baskets that you hang on top of the rim like they do in, I think the first time we ever played on those hoops that you hang up on top of the real basket that
Uh-huh.
brings the rim down for the smaller kids for 10 to 12. That's what we
Right.
encountered when we went to St. Thomas. When we played on St. Croix, we played on the average, basketball rim.
Mm.
So us coming to St. Thomas, to me, it was a disadvantage for us because we just never played on that type of hoop. And
Right.
looking back now, I think it would be fair to say that it was a little unfair, but you can't say it's unfair because that's what they played on in St. Thomas during their season. So we had to make an adjustment. But you know, it really took me back in time, and I do remember the coach. I don't know if you know. You must know Papa. His
Definitely.
name is Arsenio Rivera.
Right. Definitely.
You know him, right?
Yep.
He coached Flyers. Yeah, he coached Flyers back in the days, and it's so funny that Myron Corbett was one of the players on the team. Ayula Peterson was another player on the team. Those two
Wow.
I remember because I know them personally. But it's just
Right.
amazing to know. I mean, we came to St. Thomas and we definitely was slaughtered, trust me. But out of that league and that championship, it allowed me to meet, people that I remain friends with up until this day. And some of them I
Right.
met when I was 12 years old, and then for Myron Corbett, Coach Corbett and I, God bless him, you know, to have played on the same team as 12-year-olds. We managed to be in the same coaching arena in high school, and we managed to be in the same coaching arena on our Virgin Islands national team. So, it really came full circle for me. And that's what sports does. And I encourage all of our kids to get involved in sports. You're able to make friends and maintain friends for a lifetime, and
And
that's what has happened to me. So
that's my favorite thing about sports. Definitely. I just like you said, those same kids that you meet when you're 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, those become some of your best friends in the world. No matter where you guys go, what different directions you travel,
yeah.
you can always meet
Hmm.
back and talk about those days growing up where you just built that friendship, built that bond, and That's one of the best thing about sports. Just building those bonds, meeting those
about
people,
sports. Hmm.
traveling. Sports are just great all around for the individual to grow. To be honest,
Yep, building relationships and friendships that last a lifetime. And I it's sad for those kids that has chosen not to be involved in sports. And sports is not just, I mean, there are many other sports that you could play. It's not just basketball, baseball, volleyball. It could be tennis, individual sports. It could be swimming. But it's that camaraderie and that ability to compete. And you did tap a little bit on the pandemic and the kids not being able to play. I mean, it's been a really rough 2 years, not
definitely.
just for them, but I could even say for myself, because it seems like the sport of basketball just died. It just died
Right,
because there was no competition, there was no gymnasiums, there was no means of really getting the kids together or being a part of an organization.
right. But 2022, we're making a big comeback here. Things are going, things are flowing. So I'm glad to see the kids are getting back out there and getting an opportunity to play now. I just love to see them when you pass by the ballparks, pass by the
Hmm.
basketball courts. They're just out there playing and they look like they're having more fun than they've had in the last 2 years by far.
By far. And I have to give Calvert White, who is also my cousin, I have to give him kudos for restoring most of these basketball courts throughout the
They
territory.
look
He's
great.
really, really, really doing, and yeah, they look great. They look great, and a lot of times when it looks good, it make you want to go out on the court because they have really been in in a bad state for a long time. So I really have to give him kudos along with the administration for really and important to kids. I have really had it. I'm over the top of my head with tablets. Every time you see a kid, their phone is stuck to their hands.
Hmm.
They don't want to go outside. They're sitting down, and we have kids that are, chip eaters when tablets. So you're snacking all day, and our kid a little too chubby. Need to get outside and run. When I look back in the days when we played sports, I swear to God, back then, we thought we were starving, because we were so skinny. But
Right.
when in hindsight, when you look at it, that's what athletes are supposed to look like, slim and trim.
Definitely,
So we didn't have all of those things to distract us. We just were out there just hooping it,
definitely.
just hooping it.
Now, getting back into
Mhm.
your high school career, where did you start playing high school basketball, or what school did you go to play high school basketball?
I started playing high school basketball at St. Croix Central High School as a freshman, and we still were on double sessions. My entire junior high school and senior high school 6 years was double session. It was all double session. But by the time we got to Central High School, Department of Education, I guess, started to figure out how we are going to incorporate sports, although we're on double sessions. So 9 and 10 graders went to school in the afternoon, and 11 and 12 graders went to school in the morning. So in that medium between that time of that break before the afternoon session came in was when we were able to assemble and be able to form a team and be able to practice during that time. And
Right.
that's really how it all got started, again. And which was a good thing for me, because this at this point, this was the very first time that I can say that I started to play organized basketball on a school team, because I didn't play in elementary and I
Mhm.
didn't play in junior high school. But I was playing. I just didn't play on a team per se.
Right, right. Now, did you get a chance to move on and play for any of the junior national teams while you were playing basketball in high school?
Well, honestly, during that tenure that I was in high school and had graduated high school, the Virgin Islands national team they did not field a team for some years. Didn't quite understand why. why, but there wasn't a women's national team. There was a men's national team during that time, but there wasn't a women's national team. However, and back then, when you graduate, back then, you and I know the recruiting process really didn't really exist here in the Virgin Islands. You would have to have been exceptional, and I considered myself to have been very exceptional, but we just didn't get the exposure. Coaches didn't come here to look for players. Although I was 6 something, and when I got to college, everybody, or started coaching, everybody's like, "You have any 6 foot girls in the Virgin Islands?" That was all you heard. I was 6 foot 1.5, so but it just wasn't around, in the late 70s and the early 80s. However, I can honestly say to you that after graduating high school, there were a couple of my high school classmates that were in the process of attending Cheney State College in Philadelphia,
Mhm.
and they had just they had just come off of a Final Four run against Louisiana Tech, coached by C.
I
Vivian Stringer.
think we lost you there.
How or what it yeah, yeah, I'm back.
Okay, good. I got you. Go
you
ahead.
know I don't know how much of you didn't get, but after graduating high school, a few Virgin Islanders that attended Cheney State University that knew about me or heard about me, reached out to me, and they reached out to Coach C. Vivian Stringer, and they said, "Hey, we have a player in St. Croix that's really good." And she did reach out to me, and we made contact, and through that dialoguing, which was word of mouth, it wasn't because of there was any heavy recruiting or anything that was taking place. I was able to attend Cheney State.
Now, how was it, or what was it like playing for a future Hall of Fame basketball coach at that point?
Yeah, well, she's a Hall of Famer right now, but to go back 40 years, you really don't like to say that because it kind of gives away my age a little bit.
Right.
But to go back 40 years, you know, and they're still standing as the only historically black university to take a women's team to the Final Four. And during that time, we had three exceptional black coaches that took Cheney State to the Final Four. So just being able to attend Cheney the year after them experiencing so much success,
Hmm.
it was really mind-boggling just to know, wow, look where I landed, you know.
Right.
But because of many many reasons, I never remained there. Neither did I graduate from Cheney. However, I continued to follow, see Vivian Stringer wherever she went. She coached at Iowa University, where she also took that university to the Final Four. And she's at Rutgers right now, and she took that university to the Final Four. So, um, been in some good company there, I would say.
Definitely. Definitely. Now,
Yeah.
we talked about
And to,
Cheney
to
State
top
being at
that off, just
HBC. Go ahead. Continue.
mhm,
Continue.
go ahead. No, no, no. You go ahead. You go
No,
ahead.
no.
I'm following your lead.
We talked about
So,
Cheney State being at HBCU. How important do you feel it is that kids kind of get that HBCU experience, or what did it do for you as a person to get that HBCU experience?
well, what it actually did, and in hindsight, to look back, I didn't know of anything else. It's not like I had
Right.
an opportunity to attend Duke or North Carolina, anything like that. So to be able
Right.
to attend Cheney, you know, uh, it was an experience of a lifetime. Just coming from the Virgin Islands and not knowing anything else. So if I were to put that into perspective now, I could honestly say, well, this was, you know, in my mind back then, just as big as attending, one of those major universities. because you're not looking at the
Right.
building and what it stands for. You're looking at the accomplishments and what came out of attending that university.
Definitely. Definitely. Now,
I'm doing an
when you
interview,
did move on
Piedy,
from
if you don't
Cheney
mind.
State, where did you go?
Say that
When you
again.
did move on from Cheney State, where did you when you moved on from Cheney State, where did you attend school?
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't attend school. I decided, that I was going to go home. And when I look back, some 40 years ago, there were a lot of financial challenges at the time that really didn't permit me to remain at the university. And at that time, I really thought it was best that, that I went back home. And I did.
Right.
When I got home, I think the whole territory looked at me. What are you doing here? You should be in college. Which, and they were right, because I really understood that game, and I played it very, very well, very well. When I look at in some of the universities, and you're seeing certain people hanging from the rafters, I definitely could have been up there. Honestly, I really did. I really could have. But that's just how it went. I have no regrets,
Definitely.
to be
Now
honest
with
with you, because it allowed me to come home.
right. Now with that being said, you have a son that moved on to play both collegiate and professional ball. How did your experiences help you to guide him in the right direction to get him where he wanted to be in life with the same sort of basketball?
Well, I have to say that there is definitely a God above, because what ended up happening with Craig, when he did get quite a bit of recruitment here in the Virgin Islands, and I guess when you're 6'8", people are going to come and take a look. But what we
Right.
did, people are going to come take a look at 6'8". But what we did, I don't know if you know, there's a gentleman from St. Thomas. His name is Jonathan Greenaway. I don't know if you know Jonathan. He's a
Not sure.
basketball enthusiast also. He's very good friends with this friend of mine's by the name of Vince Simmons. Vince and Jonathan went to school together, and through that, Vince called me and he said, Piedy, I have a friend. His name is Jonathan, and he lives in Texas, and he wants to know if Craig can come and play on his AU team. So I said, Vince, well, I know you very well, but I don't know Jonathan. I said, I don't know who Jonathan is, and I'm just going to be sending Craig to someone that I don't know. So
I
I said, well, let's
as
do it like
Virgin
this.
Islander
I'll just go with him.
definitely said those exact words.
Yeah. So I said, I am not going to send Craig any place for himself. I said, tell Jonathan he's going to come, but I'm coming along with him. And that's really how that started. And,
Right.
when you're playing that AU circuit, you start to get a lot of looks. But what was, I mean, the greatest thing was through the friends that I made at Cheney State. uh, Coach Stringer. I don't know if I'm pretty sure you do know Coach John Cheney. He was a coach
Hmm.
at Cheney, and when he left,
Right.
he won the Division II championship in 1992, the same year that the women's team went to the Final Four. They won the Division II championship, and with that, he was able to secure a head coaching job at Temple. So now, knowing Coach C. Vivian Stringer, who coached alongside John Cheney at Cheney, the conversation
Hmm.
started. And I said, well, I would stay in touch with Coach Stringer all the time, and I would tell her, listen, my son Craig, and she would say, well, John has a summer camp that they have in Philadelphia, the Cheney Hill summer camp. So through that contact, just who you know.
So
But through
just so
the
you know,
through that union and the contacts I was able to make through Stringer, we were able to take Craig on camp, Cheney Hill summer camp. So with that, John Cheney would be there, and he had an opportunity to see Craig up close and personal. And for Craig's senior year of high school, did travel that summer to the summer camp, and Fran Dunphy, Coach
A little
Shaney
bit.
was like, make sure you
I
take a
can
look
hear
at
you.
that kid. We know what that means most of the time, right?
Right.
Take a look at that kid. Yeah, but I have to say that it was really a work in progress. Craig did exhaust his 5 visits. He did visit, quite simple. And that's how that worked out. But I must say, being 6'8" and being able to, play in a couple of the circuits, it really did give him some exposure. And that's where he ended up. He did his 5th year. He had a medical red shirt because he had broken that same bone that Zion Williamson broke on his
Mm,
foot, that fifth metatarsal bone.
yeah.
Craig broke both of them. He broke
Wow.
one, and then he broke the second one probably 3 months after. So that
Wow.
year, he really, and that was his sophomore year. He had a bad year with broken bones in his feet, but he recovered from that, and he went on to have a pretty good season at Temple. Uh, he chose to transfer to Texas Christian University and play that 5th year since he had an additional year that he had redshirted, and that really went well. And doors really started to open. It didn't open right away. A lot of times we think you got an agent and you know things just happen just like that. It doesn't unless you're going to the NBA. But when you're going overseas,
Right.
it's a process of working yourself through different leagues. I remember the first league that he went to play in. It really wasn't, the pay wasn't anything to talk about. I think minimum wage, he probably would have made the same amount of money, but it was a matter of getting out there and getting the exposure.
Right.
Because I think in that league, Craig was considered the MVP of the league. So that in itself just starts to open doors with, other teams being interested. And that's how that started. And he had a successful 7 years. He really did. Said his best stint was in Japan. He loved Japan. That's one thing he said.
Sounds like
He
you're gonna be
did.
moving there pretty soon.
No, no. Well, to be honest with you, he's back home now. He's no
Right.
he's no
Right.
longer playing professionally. He's gotten married since then. I have a little granddaughter. Her name is Sage. She's 5, and she's in that very tall percentile, with her
There we
dad
go.
being
Just like
six
grandma.
eight, her mom being almost 6, her grandparents being 6 something. She can't help but to be 6'8" at least. But I'm really
Wow,
I'm
that
really
would be
pushing her,
amazing.
just to do. Yeah, it would be amazing. And she you got to have the basketball hoop
Right.
outside, and you
Just
got to
in
say,
case.
Sage, we got to take some shots. But she likes swimming though.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but she loves to swim. I really think she could do something in swimming too, because she loves to swim. She really loves to swim.
That might just be her calling. It might not be basketball, but she might just be a swimmer.
It just might be.
Right.
Right. But we just have to open doors and let them make choices. And
Definitely.
because it means, when we look at, my granddaughter is 5, by the time she's a senior in high school, college is either going to be non-affordable or free. It's going to be
Right.
one of the two, because right now it's, you just can't afford it unless you're on a scholarship or something like that. So
Mhm.
I don't know what's going to happen then. But it's good to give them options, because a lot of times we may think we can choose for our kids or grandkids, but in the end they're going to be the ones to choose what sport they want to
I
do.
definitely agree with that. Now,
Yeah.
before we move on, this is a very, very important question, and I'm hoping
Mhm.
we have a good answer for it. But in your prime and Craig's prime, who would win 1-on-1?
To be honest with you, I think, from the physicality of the game, I think if Craig wanted to muscle me up and post me up all the time, I don't think I could compete against that. But When I played the game, I played it well. I really played it well, and I really had a knack for scoring. We've had a
Mhm.
couple summer leagues here in St. Croix, and this was way before the 3-point line. I've had several games where I've scored over 70 points in a game, and this is
Wow.
without the 3-point line. This was without the 3-point line. And my most people would always correct my son would tell me, "Mommy, you just were very selfish." My thing was, if I have a better shot than you, why do I pass?
Right.
Right? The chances of you missing is great. The chances of me missing is very seldom.
No, this is
Yeah,
good
so
because
really, really,
there were rumors out there of you scoring upwards of 70 points. So now that we have the actual facts
I
here,
didn't hear you, Shaq. Say that again.
so there was a rumor that several times you scored over 70 points. Now that we have the facts here, how many times did you score over 70 points in a ball game?
Yeah, it's not a rumor; it's a fact. 3 games. I had 3 games. I had 3 games where I scored over 70 points. Ask Rashidi. Rashidi will tell you. Rashidi
No.
Clements, he would tell
What
you because his
what
father used
age
to
was
run the
this?
league and he used to do the stats. This was, I think I was in my, I'd say I was about 24, 25.
Wow.
And I really, if I had the discipline, I could have actually went on to play professional basketball. I could have, because I hadn't, I didn't have, but and a lot of people said, but for me, it was an unknown journey, to just fly off to a country that you know nothing about, probably don't speak the language. And
Mhm.
I was gainfully employed, and I was doing pretty good. So I decided, I know what I have, I don't know what I'm going to get. So with that, I just decided to, stay employed and stayed in that job for 25 years. I retired as chief, and I retired before I was 45 years old.
Right.
So I think that was a great choice. Looking
Now
back.
you took your playing career and you went further down the road. You got more in depth into basketball. You began coaching. How did you get into
Yep.
coaching basketball?
Well, that was easy. That was easy. Being back home, working, and not, playing anymore or as much as I used to. The thing is to get to the gym and start, teaching, a lot of the younger ones the skills that you have. And it was a great
Right.
opportunity for me just to be able to work alongside my head coach, which was Albert Bud Hazard. So that was a no-brainer for me, just coming back and being his assistant coach. It was really a no-brainer for me. And we were able to do a lot with the young ladies. And a lot of times, it's easier for young women or young men also, to gravitate to the sport when they see, their likeness, someone, just like them that's pushing you and encouraging you to be the best that you can. And it's easy when you could say, well, you can do it. I did it, you
Hmm.
know. And I've always looked forward to seeing someone achieve higher goals than I may have, So seeing Aaliyah Boston, doing what she's doing, it's really awesome, you know.
Definitely.
Like I told Rashidi, I said, listen, if she was around in my time, she'd been in a lot of trouble. But she's good. She's 6'5". I mean, I don't
Definitely.
know. I've never stood next to her. Is she
Right.
really 6'5"? Is she?
Yes, he is.
Oh well, she's big. If she's 6'5", she's tall. So
Definitely. But
yeah,
I like
but
that point that you brought up just now, where seeing someone who came from the same place as you, a young face, a college athlete, or someone who just finished college, those people, those young adults have the biggest impact on our children here in the Virgin Islands. And I love to see when collegiate players or pro players come back and just talk to the youths of the Virgin Islands, because we don't ever understand at that age that the big impact we have. But when you see it later down the line, and those kids want to be like Aaliyah Boston, those kids want to be like Jabari Blash, those kids want to be like Akeem Morrison, those guys who were in a generation right before them, it breeds a whole new
mhm.
life into some of these athletes. now they have
Mm-hmm.
something to push forward to because he
Mm-hmm.
went to the same elementary school as me, or she lived next to my grandma. So I know now, like you said, that I can make it further than the Virgin Islands playing these sports here. So I love to see young athletes come back and give back to the Virgin Islands, whether they're just giving time or doing some other kind of investment for the youth of the Virgin Islands.
That is so true, and it, like you said, it makes it easier to believe because you can see that it has happened with someone else. But although I did do high school basketball. After I moved from the Central High School, I did coach at the complex for about 4 or 5 years with Coach Derek Miller.
Hmm.
That was in the late 90s into the 2000s. I coached with Coach Derek Miller. I coached junior high school, elementary school. I had a great opportunity of being selected by Senator Usi Richards, who also was the president of the Basketball Federation in the Virgin Islands. And he graciously allowed me to be a part of the coaching staff for both our junior and senior national women. And that too has been a really tremendous experience. Just being there, looking at professional athletes, because a lot of our players also played overseas and professionally. And then just to see young high school players being given an opportunity to play on the senior women team.
Right.
So basketball has just been my life, and it's just something that I love. And wherever I see a ball bouncing, I'm just gonna follow that bouncing.
Now, what was it
It's
like for you?
amazing. It's amazing.
What was it like for you to just be a part of the coaching staff for your women's national team? This is a whole new sense of pride because you're representing your country. What was that moment like for you when you were selected to be a part of those coaching staffs?
Well, it was exhilarating because for many years, although I wasn't a part of the coaching staff, whenever there were trials and the teams were being prepared to go to different countries to play, I'd always volunteer my time doing whatever was asked of me. But to get the nod and to be selected to be in one of the coaches, I mean, that was just on a totally different level. And just to know that you're representing your country, you're representing the United States Virgin Islands. And when we look at how small we are on a dot, we compete against countries that have a population of 1 million people. And to know that we could compete against countries that have populations so large, and we have been victorious. We've won gold medals over teams that have hundreds and thousands of people living in
Right.
their country. So it speaks volumes to the talent that we have here in the Virgin Islands. And we've had talent for a very long time, and we still do have talent. You know, I think right now we just have to refocus and redirect those players that we know have talent, and in some way try to instill in them, hey, you can make a lot of money just playing this game right now. Back in the days, 20, 30 years ago, players weren't making $250 million for 4 years. That's unheard of. That kind of money is insane, but it all starts on the basketball court. And our players just believing that they can be successful. But it all comes from hard work, hard work.
Now, is there any outstanding awards or accolades that you would like to share that you got during your basketball playing career?
Well, my college career was very short. As I indicated, I did 1 year of college. But you know, when I look at from the territory of the Virgin Islands, I most people that know me during my time, they would probably say that she was really good. She was good.
Right.
So I continue to try to impart my knowledge and my skills onto those that want to play the game. I find today, we're living in a time where we're competing against so many other obstacles, you know, and I think the biggest obstacle is the internet. If we could get our players and our athletes to kind of just put the tablet down for a minute and put the time in the gym, you know, the future is bright.
Right.
As long as we could get past that. There's some of our kids that just know what they want, and then there are a lot of our kids know what they want, but they just need that extra push. So, but there is a battle. There is a battle.
We're gonna go ahead and take a commercial break here now. I'm gonna get some sponsors, gonna get some local advertisements here, but don't you go anywhere. Miss Piedy Williams will be back here with you and more between the lines right after this commercial break.
Wait. Are you talking about this style or this style? Because I can also do like this style if you were talking about this, or I don't know if you were talking about this style because this one's kind of but I don't know, maybe this one was it maybe more streetwear style, or this style you're talking about.
Hi, my name's Aaliyah Boston. I'm from St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. I attend Worcester Academy and I'm in the class of 2019. When I was 9 years old, I started playing basketball, and since then my goal was to go to college for free and to play in the WNBA. So my parents started looking for camps in the States, and after a couple of years of going away to camps, we started looking for an AU program, which is basically a travel program in the summer. And we found one in Worcester, Massachusetts, and that's closer to where my aunt lives, so that's why we chose Worcester Sting. When I first started, it was a lot. It was a lot different. The practices were 2.5 hours long. It was a lot of individual workouts, and then you would get into like the plays. But as I moved up I moved to a new AU team called IXL. So I woke up at
I'm doing great, even though every day's not fine. But still I woke up today, another day to get on my grind. Got me singing, whoa, whoa, effort, I'm built for fun, whoa, whoa, effort, I'm built for fun, really. I'm doing great, even though every day's not fine. But still I woke up today, another day to get on my grind. Got me singing, whoa, whoa, effort, I'm built for fun, whoa, whoa, effort, I'm built for fun, really.
All right, we are back. We are back with more Between the Lines presented to you by Live Wire Sports. We are still here with our guest, Miss Stephanie Piedy Williams. Piedy, still here with us?
Yes, I am. I'm right here.
Good, good, good. Now I want to let you know, I want to congratulate you. You reached far, far in our interview here. You got out of the interview portion. I'm going to do a little bit of an interactive segment here. We get to learn a little bit more about you, and then we'll open up the live stream to our viewers' questions so they can ask you whatever they would like to ask from watching this live stream here today. Are
Okay.
you ready?
I'm in. I'm all in.
And this one is called A Few of My Favorite Things. So we're going to just learn about a few of your favorite things and just get to know a little bit more about you. So we're going to go ahead and start with your favorite color.
My favorite color is red. You notice I have my red on.
Listen, I was going to guess that. And my favorite color is red too. So you
Yeah.
definitely get some points there. You're definitely getting some points. Live wire is red. Listen, red.
Yep.
Greatest
Red,
color.
red, red. Yep.
Your favorite athlete.
My favorite athlete. Me. I'm
You know,
sorry.
that's not a bad answer.
Me.
That is not a bad answer. A
Me.
lot of people would say another basketball player, another. You're right. Favorite athlete is me. I
Me.
like it. I definitely
Me.
like
Yeah.
your favorite musical artist.
My favorite musical artist. Hmm. I have a lot. I have a few gospel artists that I really like. I like Kirk Franklin. I like Donnie McClurkin. I like Yolanda Adams. I like ah, I like gospel artists. I do like my little rap and all those other things too. But when we talk about favorite, and a lot of times it's just the message and the music.
Definitely. So if you had a
Yeah.
concert right now, who you get a free ticket to a concert, who we going to see?
We're going to see
Free concert.
a free concert.
All
Nah, let me
expenses.
see. I don't know. I'm not a great concert type of person. I listen, on TV and stuff like that. But to say I'm going to a concert, not really up my alley. I watch it on TV, but let me see.
We name a lot of good
I used
names.
to like I love me some Michael Jackson, to be honest with you. I go to concert to see Michael Jackson. I
Me
go
too.
to concert to see Prince. I
Too.
go to concert to see uh Yolanda Adams, Janet Jackson. Those are back in that's my time. So if you could connect with my time, you're in good time.
Well, we can go to that Michael Jackson concert together. I ready to go.
I will
Telegram,
go.
here it is. I want to be there. I missed that experience. So
I sure
definitely would
do.
trade that
Yep.
for something.
Yep. Yep.
Your favorite hobby besides sports? Besides sports, because we know
Besides
basketball was
sports, uh, hmm, that's a hard one. Me time.
besides
I
sports.
I like I like I like a lot. Besides sports, I like to spend a lot of time with myself. I don't know if doing lawn care is a hobby or what, but I
It
kind of
is.
like. Yeah, I do. I love doing lawn care. I love. Most people would say you're crazy. Pay somebody to do it. It's not that. It's really not about the money at all. To me, it's very therapeutic. Just pushing a lawnmower. You got the weed whacker and you trimming. I like that. I like
It's
doing
satisfying knowing
stuff
that you did it.
outdoors. Yeah, I like doing that. My mom has a half an acre property, and I cut it with a pushing mower and a weed whacker, which it takes me about 3 days. But I started today, so got some done today. But I really enjoy that. I really do, especially since I'm not, I'm retired and I try to keep physically active too.
That's definitely a hobby. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
Yeah, it is. Okay, good. I'll take that as a hobby.
Your favorite sports team, any sport, favorite
My
sports
favorite
team.
sports team, Cheney State.
I like it. Listen,
Cheney State.
these answers here are things that no one else would say. Honestly, they would never tie it really back to themselves. But I like these answers. I really do. Cheney State. That's a good one. What about your favorite academic subject?
Jenny State. My favorite academic subject.
Don't say PE.
I'm
PE
not
does
gonna
not.
say math.
Oh, there we go.
No, that's not.
All athletes
I
say
would say
PE.
English. Yeah, not PE, English. Not math.
English.
I mean, you had to pass at least 2 or 3 math courses to get out of high school. So I did it. I done it, and I was happy when it was over.
English. Now we're gonna take English as that answer then. Definitely.
Yeah, English. Yes.
All right. Your favorite food?
My favorite food. My favorite food. Well, I must confess that ever since Craig, my son, is no longer playing professional basketball overseas, he has a sushi catering business. If you notice, my shirt says Seiji, and the name of the catering business is Seiji Sushi. My granddaughter's
Ah,
name is Sage, and Craig does sushi. So right now I am loving some sushi, and I have to say to everyone that's watching this podcast that sushi is not all raw fish. It's not raw. Sushi
that's
is whatever you want it to be. It's
right.
shrimp, lobster, it's crab, it's chicken. I mean, comes in a lot of, and you have those people that may want raw tuna or and stuff like that, but sushi is not all raw. So I've been really loving some sushi right now.
Now give a shout out one more
What
time
is
to Craig's business. What's the name of the business one more time?
Seiji's Sushi?
All right, Seiji Sushi. We're gonna have to
And
get that in.
Seiji Sushi, he's on Instagram, he's on Facebook. I mean, he has a following of over 1,000 people that's following him for this sushi. So it's really doing good. And some people will say, well, where did Craig learn this skill? Being overseas, and you're in countries where you don't speak the language, he has always come back and said, Mommy, I need to learn how to fix this sushi. And he sure did learn, and he's really good. He's really good. And I'm not just saying that. He's really good.
Here's where
So
we
the
get a
next
really
time you come to St. Croix, you have to taste the sushi.
trust. I'll
You
be
and
there
Raina.
very soon, and I am going to. I won't forget it. Trust me. I'll have it written down.
Yeah.
Gonna get there for
Yes.
sure.
Please do. It's
Here's
good.
what we get a little bit interesting here. Your favorite tart?
My favorite tart. My favorite tart is coconut. It's coconut. I love the coconut. Leave the guava and the pineapple. Give me the coconut. Coconut.
Okay, let's pick the second best because I don't know about coconut. Second best.
The second best will be pineapple. Guava would be the third best, but the second best will be pineapple.
I guess I could take the second best as your favorite because
Okay.
coconut and guava aren't real tarts. We only have pineapple.
Oh, really?
Only pineapple
Okay.
counts.
Only pineapple.
Your favorite sports movie?
My favorite sports movie? I don't really have one, to be honest with you. I don't really.
No love and basketball. No.
No, I saw that. Nah. I To be honest with you,
Remember the Titans.
I am not. Yeah, I remember the Titans. Yeah. I'm not. I don't watch a whole lot of TV. I look at
Mhm.
sports. I'm like, usually when the TV is on, if it's not on a sports channel, I'm not really watching it. Unless I'm looking at Let's Make a Deal or something like that. That's my favorite show.
All right, let me see here. Your favorite sports moment that you were not in, because I know it was coming, that you were not
That I
in.
was not in.
Yes, so something you saw on TV, maybe in
Okay.
person.
Let me see. Well, I can honestly say that I've had the privilege of seeing Craig play a lot of games when he was at Temple, and being able to to attend conference championships, those were some really great moments for me. And, I look at Craig and I say that he's very blessed because for the entire 4 years that he attended Temple, they made it to the NCAA tournament each year. And each year they made it, they had to win the conference championship.
Mhm.
So that was really, really amazing times for me, just being there, and looking at the teammates going up there and cutting the net down. So I've had the privilege of seeing all four.
Wow.
So that was awesome. And I would tell him, some kids never made it to the NCAA tournament. You made it 4 times.
4 times,
So he's kind of blessed. Yeah, he's blessed to have done that.
definitely. All right, so that's gonna do it for our favorite things. Now we have
Okay.
some questions from our live stream. Some people here who's supporting you that want to know some things about you. So we're gonna highlight
Okay.
those on the screen for you and see if you can answer those questions for us. So one of those questions
Okay.
is: do you feel like playing basketball against the boys helped you to become a stronger player to compete against the girls?
Oh, it sure did. Definitely. Definitely. Because boys are naturally, bigger and stronger and more physical. So, you had to withstand the physicality of playing with boys. It's a little different when you're playing 10 to 12 because for me, girls and boys are still very much on the same level in terms of strength. But
Right.
when we start venturing into 13 to 15 and 16 to 18, well, I knew my limit was after 13 to 15. That was it. The guys were a lot more stronger. And by then I had already mastered my craft already. So I had gotten all the juices away from them by then. But it definitely makes a difference, because the game is faster. The game is, the competition is stronger. And back in the days when we played, we had like one court and everybody, you had to win to stay on. Everybody sitting down, my son, I got winners. So to play a lot of games, you had to win.
Right.
You either win or go home because it got like 10 other teams waiting to play. So to be able to play, you just had to keep winning. And that's how I really learned to play the game. And like I said, I didn't have any fear about playing with the boys. I mean, if you feel you're gonna play me close and you feel like you get a little smooch, take the smooch, but I'll give it a shot. And that's how most girls were like, oh, he playing me so close. Listen, that was the furthest thing from my mind. I ain't gonna put his ball in that hoop. If that's what he thinking about, that's on him. But that ain't what he thinking about.
We got another question here from Miss Sherry Myers. What would you say was
Hi,
your
Sherry.
greatest? Who would you say was your greatest mentor throughout your journey as a basketball player?
I have to give all the credit to Coach Hazard, Bud Hazard, because it was during a time, growing up, you know, he was just always there. He was there when I couldn't be there myself. He would, ensure that we would get to practice, even if it meant pick us up, drop us home, get us something to eat, and he was just a great mentor, and he always told me that, you're really good. You're really good. And to be told that and to be able to see, that you have really put the work in and you're able to be as good as he's saying that I am. He was a great mentor of mine. I lost him about 2 years ago. To be honest with you, uh, this month will be 2 years that he passed. But he was definitely a great mentor to me. He meant the world to me.
We got some fan love here on our live stream as well. Miss Wendy Fetcher says that you are so humble. So definitely some love there. She also says that she thought your favorite food, well, she knew your favorite food was going to be sushi or fettuccine alfredo. So clearly
Yes,
she knows you very well.
yes, yes. I think fettuccine Alfredo probably was number two. But Wendy is a good friend of mine's. She has the privilege of being a part of an aerobics, a water aerobics class that I teach 4 days a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. And It's really good, low impact on your knees. When you get older, running and walking on hard surfaces is difficult. So we just do it in the water where we have so much fun, and we play our music and we just go at it for hour and a half. So that's what we do. So tomorrow is
Right.
water class, Wendy.
Also, we have here Miss Caroline Ferris, who says that it's obvious that you're a great coach and a great mentor. So definitely a round of applause for you there. People are noticing
Thank
what's
you,
happening when
Caroline.
it
Yes.
comes to the Virgin Islands. Now,
Thank
before we go,
you.
I have one more very important question. I missed this a little bit earlier, but you are, and for right now, because we know history always repeats itself. Right now, you are the one and only female coach of the year of the men's summer league. What was that experience like for you being getting that award and winning a championship that year?
Well, that experience was awesome, because what we did, and it's so ironic. Um, when Craig and I kind of did this so that the kids could have that continuity, and I can follow them from 10 to 12, 14 to 16, 16 to 18, and then enter the men's league. Because the team that won the championship, the name of our team was Kings. But Kings competed on the 14 to 16 level, the 16 to 18 level. And then we decided, our skills are really good and we won championships on those lower levels. So I decided, let's enter a men's team into the men's league and we're going
Right.
to go in as Kings. So we did. Um, that year that we won the championship, I think that was our third year into the league. And,
Hmm.
just like any new team, you work your way up from your losses and then you get halfway, where you had a subpar season, half and half with wins. But that one season, I mean, we really did great. We did awesome. I think we lost one regular season game and we lost one championship game. And we played against Mandem. If you know Mandem, those guys have been winning championships for many years. But I have to, give a lot of credit to, just us being together for such a long time. These are young boys that grew into young men that stayed together and just, kept at it. And it was really, at first when I did enter the league, I never it for me it wasn't a big deal. Oh, you're a woman and you're in the men's league. I understand the game, and once you understand the game and you know to put teams together, that's what I did, and we definitely had a great season that year. We did, and we definitely won the championship. Um, it was humbling to be selected the coach of the year, and just to win the championship. That was awesome. Something that has never been done.
Definitely,
So
definitely.
that
That's a
was that
great,
was that was a huge accomplishment for me. Yeah,
definitely.
along with
Virgin.
winning a couple of gold, along with winning a couple of gold medals because our senior women national team has had some really good seasons. And we've brought the
Yep,
gold medal home too. And when I say that, it's from the perspective that we are from a territory with less than 130,000 people. And when you could beat a country that has 1 million people, it speaks volumes to the talent that we have.
definitely, definitely. Well, Miss Stephanie Piedy Williams, want to thank you for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. We love to hear your story and get those stories out there to the other Virgin Islands so you can see that we have legends right here on our sandy beaches as well. We definitely appreciate you coming on.
Yes, and I'd like to say thank you for just inviting me to be a part of Sportswire, and I've learned a lot just knowing that this group exists. So I was happy when Raina reached out. Didn't quite know what it was, but I said, as long as she's reaching out, this young lady she has basketball at her heart. So whatever she's doing regarding basketball, you can count me in, Raina. I'm with you.
Definitely, definitely a great
And
young
thank
lady.
you, Shaq. You're great yourself. You guys, I don't know whose vision it was, but it just tells me that we don't just have to be great in basketball alone. We're great in other things. And I could see by you guys, putting together a sports show like this, I mean, with commercials. I mean, who does that? Young people like you guys?
Right.
Get out of here. Just me. I'll be a volunteer to do whatever you guys need me to do. Just call me. I'll do research. I'll run stuff down for you. And I mean that, because what you guys are doing is totally awesome. I've never seen it on this level before.
Right. Thank you very
So
much.
keep doing what you guys are doing, because I could see one day, looking at you guys on national TV, running this show.
Right. That's the goal. But
it's really good. It's really good.
Definitely gonna keep in contact, because we're gonna make sure to get you involved. We know how much you want to work with the youth of the Virgin Islands, so we're definitely gonna get you involved as much as we can.
Okay, and trust me when I say that, I mean that from my heart. And thank you. I'd like to thank the audience and everybody that took the time out to look at the sports show. And just know that I'm looking forward to to hearing who's the next person that's going to be featured for this month, the next female. Thank you, Shaq.
Thank you very much.
It.
All right, Live Wire fans, we are live again next week, Monday. We have another special guest on air, but we also want you guys to look out every day for our Virgin Islands history, our Women's History Month post that we have on our Live Wire page. Every day honoring a different Virgin Islander, a different woman of the Virgin Islands who has done great things in their sporting career. You can look back and see all of our posts for March, and we have about 12 more to go for the rest of March. So keep it locked to Live Wire Sports on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram and also on YouTube. From Between the Lines and Live Wire Sports, have a good night. See you guys next week, Monday.
I'm doing great, even though every day's not fine. But still I woke up today, another day to get on my grind. Got me singing, whoa, whoa, effort, I'm built for born ready. Whoa, whoa, effort, I'm built for born ready.